What is the most important lesson learned from COVID-19? You can have all the free time in the world and still manage to do nothing with it. If there was ever a zombie attack, people would definitely lie about being bit. Non-essential jobs pay a lot more than essential ones. So ducking true. I work in food retail. I was called essential. Certainly did not feel essential and still don't. But at least they said stuff like, thanks and good job. It was weird to get a customer say something like, we appreciate all of you that are coming in to work through this. Followed directly by another customer saying, what do you mean that's $12? It was in the $5 bin, I want to speak to your manager. I was also essential and worked during lockdown. I had a woman say, thank you for your service, it felt weird. Bruh, this is a McDonald's, not the army. Even thanking the military for their service is weird in any country outside the United States. That 50% of jobs can be done from home while the other 50% deserve more than they're being paid. Bosses, hey essential workers, thanks for working through the pandemic. Workers, oh we're essential, can we have a pay rise? Bosses, nope, get back to work. You say essential, I saw expendable. At least that's how it felt. I like the term sacrificial workers. People are dumb as duck. A decent amount of people I work with surprised me a lot during the pandemic. People I used to have some respect for revealed themselves as complete idiots. It was really sobering. I like people not being near me. Yup. People standing 6 feet apart in lines is nice, for instance. Not long ago I had a woman walk behind me in a line, got about 3 feet from me and said ahem, 6 feet. I looked at her and pointed behind her and said yes that way. I love people giving me space, but goddamn, some people have turned into monsters through this whole ordeal. I don't know if people have forgotten to behave or just don't care anymore, but the level of cuntiness out in the world these days is nuts. I used to work retail during the pandemic. People became downright feral during it. Yes, they did. I cried in my car more times than I care to admit because of cunty customers, aka customers. What's that old saying? We're all just 3 meals away from total chaos? I've been thinking about that adage a lot the past few years. Edit, holy hell, it never ceases to amaze me when a throwaway comment resonates like this. The last time I got anywhere near this number of upvotes was when I casually said I've never been to a Waffle House. Edit 2, nothing to add. Just wanted to piss off the cunt who doesn't like edits. As a chef, I can actually confirm some people are only a 10-minute wait away from total chaos. As someone who skipped lunch, I'm 33% more likely to riot right now. How comfortable I seriously am with just myself. My wife died in late November 2019. The whole world shutting down and me being forced to keep myself company for months from March 2020 was the best thing that ever happened to me. Gave me the space I needed to get my head right, and took away all the social pressure surrounding grief. COVID saved me. I'm sorry for your loss, though happy to hear this time was healing for you. We need to teach statistics and critical thinking better. I knew the average person was pretty dumb, but man, did the pandemic shine a giant spotlight on how bad things truly are and how much of a negative effect that can have on the population as a whole. It's funny because the word apocalypse comes from the ancient Greek apokalyptein, which means to uncover or to reveal. COVID has really revealed just how fragile our institutions are, so to call it an apocalypse in the most literal sense isn't too far off. Something I always found interesting about this is why the last book of the Christian Bible translates to Revelations. Its Greek title is Apocalypsis it's Revelation without the S, forgive me. Just because they're voted officials, it's clear they aren't the smartest, nor do they have your best interest in mind. The extent to which politicians will sell out public health for their political advantage is much higher than I thought. Usually life or death situations are good for all politicians, just be a voice of stability and hope and you're good. We all pull together and get through it. This time, dividing us intentionally to cause chaos? I still can't believe real people did that. As they say, never waste a good crisis. If your plan relies on everyone working together, it is doomed to fail. Pandemic was just the proverbial group project in school all over again. A couple of intelligent and hard-working people trying to keep everything from falling apart while the rest sit on their ass or choose to straight up sabotage everything. Yet somehow everyone gets the exact same grade. It is the best thing I have read regarding the last few years. Totally nailed it. That it wouldn't take much for civilized people to turn on each other. A wise man once said something like humanity is perpetually 9 meals away from utter barbarism. It could also be said based on the way people went FOMO for all that toilet paper that humanity is perpetually 9 rolls away from utter barbarism. You should take the time to spend with those you love. And it showed me my list of people who I love should have been a lot shorter than I let it be. Apparently, toilet paper is more valuable than anything. I will never forgive the hordes of people who reacted that way. Duck's sake. I forgave them for forcing me to buy a bidet. Life-changing. It's the one good thing that came out of the pandemic, but also the shift to more remote work openings is good too. Welcome to the bidet club. Anything less would be uncivilized. People are shittier than I expected. 20 plus years in retail, they were exactly what I expected. How have you managed to stay sane with 20 plus years in retail? Respect. I'm not. Makes sense, rip. Bold of you to assume we've learned anything. Edit, cheers for my first gold. Alcohol doesn't improve my life, it just feels good for a moment. 9 months sober. Regardless of the nature of the crisis, the rich get richer and we get ducked. To piggyback off this, in the face of a common enemy, our world will never unite. We will be taken advantage by those in power and left to die. If there's ever an alien invasion, half of the politicians and their followers will side with them in wiping us all out just to be on the winning team. During COVID, I was laid off for months and spent that whole time keeping up to date on everything going on in the world. I mean everything I possibly could, every single day. I reached the point of obsessive and the massive amount of negative crushed me. There was so much bad going on, so much suffering that eventually, one day I just set it all down and said I'll check in a month. Best decision I made that year, the only thing that kept my sanity. Just taking time away and not bathing in it every day. Edit, holy cow, thanks for the silver. Hope everyone is doing better now. 2020 was the longest decade of my life. Edit, holy cow, thanks for the gold. Take care of yourselves, people. I took up Quokka videos as a therapy for the news. People are disgusting. If in a really dangerous situation that requires unity, we're ducked. When the shit really hits the fan, we're ducked. Yep. Movies taught me that if something terrible enough happens, humanity will band together and defeat it. Lies. Don't Look Up does a good job of portraying our societies in crisis. People make irrational decisions when afraid. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. When it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to recall its path. Most grown adults are nasty and have to be reminded to wash their hands. Your employer will spend more telling everyone that they value your work than showing it to you. Corporate profits don't trump control, even though for many companies 20,212,022 were banger years. You gotta get your butt back into their ill-equipped office because they say so. Government made rules they didn't follow themselves. The veneer of control is thin, supply chain is very sensitive. People care more about things being easy than thinking about them critically. There are me people and there are we people. People do not have the skills to evaluate, or read, studies and draw appropriate conclusions from. A study states it's a preliminary study and people use it to draw conclusions.